The French Alps are home to some of the most stunning scenery in the world. And where there are mountains, there are people driven to conquer them. There is an event that pushes the boundaries of human endurance to the edge and is described as the toughest and highest cycle sportif in the world, the Haute Route. Competitors will ride 780 kilometers and climb a staggering 21,000 meters of ascent over 7 days. They'll pass over 19 mythical and legendary cols in landscapes that appear otherworldly. The journey begins on the shoreline of Lake Geneva in Switzerland. The final destination in a week, Nice, on the Mediterranean coast. There are 600 amateur riders and a sprinkling of pro and semi-pro riders competing. They represent 33 different nationalities, and the spectrum of ability and experience is vast. To finish all 7 days will be a major achievement. But it's a moment everyone's been preparing for.
Very excited. I've met all my team members and, you know, there's a few of us that you can feel the butterflies in your tummy a little bit. It's a mix of excitement and nervousness. Everyone's happy to be getting on their bikes, start the day, start the tour.
I think we've all been looking forward to it for months now, so we've all been out on our bikes enough, hopefully, to get us over at least the first 3 hills, so that'll see us to the end of today. So I think we're all excited.
I feel very happy, and we're training 6 months for these events, and now it's start.
3, 2, 1, go!
The first day will not be easy by any stretch for the riders' fresh legs. 120 kilometers to the ski resort of Megève, with thousands of meters of climbing to get there. Kathleen Swalling is one of 49 women competing, a former champion triathlete, but this is her first cycle sportif.
For me personally, this race is about a massive challenge. I like to take on challenges. When I got offered the chance, I know that I'm alive. You get out there and you give it a go. If you get an opportunity to do something like this, you take it and you grow from every experience. So I'm going to grow from this, I'm sure.
Riders compete as individuals, but also have to be part of a team consisting of at least 3. Many in the 95 teams have not met their teammates before, and Kathleen is riding alongside Christophe Pleitgen for the first time. Christophe, a media consultant, is returning after competing in the first edition of this event.
This is probably as close as any of us office riders and amateur riders will ever get to feeling like professional bike riders. What is really special is that essentially you live and breathe cycling from the second you wake up until you go to sleep at night, and everything in between. On top of that, we're doing it in some of the most stunning landscape anywhere in the world.
The Haute Route has an incredible chance, an incredible opportunity, is to be in the middle of the most mythical mountains, the most mythical cols of cycling legend.
And the landscape will create the challenge. Stage 1 has 3 huge climbs that the riders will have to tackle: Col de Rome, Col de la Colombière, and Col des Aravis. For the London-based Black Widow Cycling Club, getting all their team here was a logistical exercise in its own right.
We've all got normal day jobs. Everybody's got to fit it in with their lives, their families and their jobs. That's almost the biggest challenge of Haute Route, is trying to get yourself here on the start line ready to go.
A man who has spent the last 6 months specifically training for this event is the winner of last year's Haute Route, the defending champion Peter Pouly, part of Team No Limit. Pouly, a 5 times national French mountain bike champion, is at the top of his game.
I feel good, but I don't know about another rider, if I'm more strong or not. I want to be same last year, and I want to try to win this year. I love bicycle, I love mountain. For me, the Haute Route is the best race for me. Yeah.
Pooley is up against some tough competition, but he lives up to his reputation and takes the first stage win. He's closely followed by Michel Chocol and Benjamin Blogrund. British Olympian and pro rider Emma Pooley went on to be the first woman to finish in Megève. Peter Pooley completed the first stage in 3 hours and 7 minutes, with the other top riders not far behind. The last competitors across the line were in the saddle for more than 6 hours.
It was just brutal. It's totally beyond what I'm used to.
Yeah, it's
so
a shock.
I've just got to try and motor on tomorrow and see what happens.
To describe what I've just put my body through, hell. And it's day one.
To ride this stage alone is an incredible achievement in its own right, but another 6 days of relentless climbing lie ahead. The true scale of how difficult this week-long race is was yet to unfold. Stage 2 starts in Megève, in the foothills of the highest and most iconic mountain in Europe, Mont Blanc. The secret to a successful Haute Route can lie in how you manage this stage. Pace will be key after a tough first day and before the big marathon stage that comes on day 3.
Just got to dig in and see how it goes, eh? Just ride it. There's no easy way. It just goes up.
I'm always looking for the next challenge. I climbed Everest 10 times. So we're here in sunny Megève, and this is arguably the biggest challenge of my life. Yesterday was brutal. Today looks just as bad.
Today's destination, 105 kilometers away in Courchevel, with 2,700 meters of climbing. It's a perfect day. Many of the riders who took part in last year's event are here to better their ranking and beat their nearest rivals. It may be an amateur race, but the competition is fierce. And for one man, it's not about beating anyone other than overcoming the mountains themselves. Frenchman Christian Aitish is an inspirational rider. A team that evented for the first time travelled more than 11,000 kilometres to compete. As a nation, Kenyans are known for their success in endurance running, but not in cycling.
All of the work we did with them initially showed that they were particularly good at climbing, even with no training.
To enter the Haute Route, it's a big challenge for us, and it's a good thing for the Kenyan riders to get experience in the race.
Riding in the French Alps is a far cry from what they've been used to.
Our cyclists don't have the years of riding in their legs, in their bodies. They may have been riding an old black Mamba bike in Africa. It's a very heavy steel bike, and many of them no cycling at all. You know, so some of them have only been on a bike for 2, 3 or 4 years.
We want to finish the race and finish in the general classification somewhere in a good position.
Although there are only 2 cols in today's stage, the rising temperature has a major effect on the riders on the final 25-kilometre climb up to Courchevel.
You try and manage the pain. You know, you try not to go too deep, because if you go too deep too early, you just blow up.
Legs are tired, but I know it's near the end, so I'm just going to keep on pushing.
Very hard, very hot day. So even if the 6% rate, it's very, very hard.
Towards the end, your legs just begin to hurt more and more and more.
On the finish line, Peter Pooley is closely followed again by Michel Chocol. But there's a surprise rider in 3rd spot, just 6 minutes behind the leader.
3rd place on the second stage. Good job, John.
It's a podium place for John Muir. Muir has only been riding for a year, compared with the experience of Pooley, a 5 times French mountain bike champion. An amazing achievement for the Kenyan.
The last climb was very tough. I'm happy to be a Kenyan rider
because I think in our country this is the first team from Kenya to be in such a race.
Riders have spent up to 3.5 hours in the saddle just on the final climb alone, and the temperature is rising.
I'm not used to this heat. I just came from Australia, and in Australia now it's winter. It's 5 degrees, and here it's 35.
And for some, it's not just the searing heat that has made the riding even harder. Christoph Pleitgen has had a fall and been riding with a deep gash in his ankle for the final and most difficult 20 kilometers.
Elbows banged up, my hips banged up. The worst thing is my ankle. The pedal went into the ankle, and so I ended up having to get stitches for that. And the knee's a little bit swollen as well, but hopefully I'll be okay by tomorrow.
If the riders think today was hard, there's plenty more hardship to come on day 3, Marathon Day. Stage 3 of the Haute Route Cycle Sportif from Geneva to Nice is considered the hardest day of the entire event. A 5 out of 5 in difficulty rating. This marathon leg will push the already tired riders to their limit.
A long day, a long stage, 138 kilometers. 3 main difficulties at the program. The first one, Col de la Madeleine. It has been the first difficulty, the first climb of the day. Then Col du Glandon, and to finish, the ascent up to Alpe d'Huez through Villa Recula.
Today the competitors will climb 4,200 meters. Truly an epic day is about to begin.
It will be a hard stage, that everybody knows it.
Am I ready? Not really, but I give it best.
They say in French, je suis cuit, which means I am cooked, and I'm expecting today to be cooked at some stage.
Personally, after my crash yesterday, I'm not feeling great. Didn't have a good night. I'll give it a go. If I make it, it'll be the stuff of legends. And if I pull out, it probably will have been a very sensible decision, so we'll see.
Although Peter Pooley is wearing the leader's jersey, he isn't the main attraction on the start line.
Today we have Alain Prost. He joined the team. I know Alain Prost from a long time because my dad is fan about Formula One and Alain Prost, and I follow him from a long time.
It looks like it's going to be very tough. More or less it's what we have done in the stage of the Tour de France 15 years ago. Particularly today with the heat, it's going to be very, very difficult.
Although this event is in its infancy, it's already become a magnet for people who live life on the edge. Mountaineering veterans, Olympians, and alongside Prost, the French sailing legend Franck Camas, fresh from a recent round-the-world race win.
I finished my last race 1 month ago, so it's a very short training, so I have to be very carefully at the beginning.
3, 1, go!
As the 600 riders start the stage, the peloton soon spreads out as the leaders push ahead. Competitors will be in the saddle from anywhere between 5 and 9 hours. Franck Camas and Alain Prost are finding their way in a peloton that has been together since Geneva. As the riders ascend, the Col de la Madeleine provides the perfect backdrop, the serenity disguising the intensity of the moment. But the beauty of the alpine scene will soon be overshadowed by the task in hand. The penultimate climb of the day is Col du Glandon. It's mythical, and even pro riders have classified it as one of the most difficult cols in the Alps. Towards the summit, and as the gradient leaps further to 11%, the quality of the riders' training will be self-evident.
Because the Haute Route is the toughest cycling race for amateurs in the world, the toughest cyclosportive, you need to be fit and you need to have the optimum weight to be able to take some pleasure. Definitely, if you have 2, 3, 4 additional kilograms, you will be able to finish and you will be able to arrive in Nice. But you won't take a lot of pleasure. In every call, you will feel the additional kilograms. At the first kilometer, you will remember about the chocolate you have eaten in December. At the second kilometer, you will remember about the fondue or the Swiss raclette.
And finally, the Col du Glandon conquered.
The 10k sign was brutal, the 5 was hideous, the 1 was terrible.
It's a brutal, brutal climb in this heat. Savage, very savage.
The food stop, more of a feeding frenzy. Riders need to consume between 3,500 and 5,000 calories a day just to keep going.
We have to go on. Let's go to Alpe d'Huez.
On the descent, there's time to rest aching limbs and take in the scenery. But the day is far from over. The last climb is looming, the road to Alpe d'Huez. Fortunately for the riders, today's stage only includes the top half of the famous Alpe d'Huez climb. But its final few kilometers are still a living hell for the back markers.
I'm exhausted. We're nearly there.
C'est dur. Oh là là, si c'est dur.
You want to be at the end? I still want to be at the end.
He's a killer. Oh, nearly there. 2k to go. Very, very difficult.
And it's just a little more than a kilometer to go.
Leg spinning and head down. Kathleen is nearly there. At the finish line, Peter Pooley continues to dominate. Alain Prost retires due to illness, but sailing legend Frank Hamas completes the stage in a remarkable 40th position.
It was very tough for me. I finished with the head and not with the leg.
The mountains had clearly left their mark.
Well, that was the most climbing I've ever done. It was extraordinarily tough. Real sense of achievement from completing it.
There were moments coming up Glandon when I was hoping my bike might break and I could retire with honour.
It was easily the hardest day I've ever spent on a bike, and it was horrific. It was absolutely horrific.
Nearly a fifth of the riders couldn't complete the stage within the time limit. Even for some of the most seasoned of riders, this stage had pushed their bodies to melting point. Kathleen has come in on time, but is exhausted, her body shutting down. Becoming cold, she's taken to the medical centre by teammate Christophe, a strong shoulder to lean on. Tomorrow would see the halfway point, but would Kathleen make the start line? The Alpe d'Huez time trial could be seen by some as a rest day, a day off in the Haute Route, the 7-day cycle sportif from Geneva to Nice. It could be easy to be fooled into a false sense of security with just 15 kilometers to ride. But this is no ordinary time trial. This is no ordinary climb.
Inside the cycling world, Alpe d'Huez is a myth. Alpe d'Huez is a legend.
As you go up the road, you can see all the
all the names of your heroes painted on the roadside, and there's no other place in the world like it to do a time trial. Let's face it.
In the footsteps of legends, the riders are not against each other, but against the clock. Their start in Bourg d'Oissin, their goal to conquer arguably the most iconic climb in cycling history, the full ascent of Alpe d'Huez.
As soon as you get on the start line and you hear you feel the buzz of adrenaline, it's very hard to restrain yourself, and I'm sure most people will put yesterday behind them and just put in their best effort.
Considering last night I was in the medical tent and shaking and blue and cold, I'm really happy that I've recovered really well. So looking forward to getting out there today and just taking it easy and getting up the hill.
Riders set off in 10-second intervals, beginning with the slowest first. This is the only time trial that exists in the cycle sportif arena, and it's one that will push every rider on the mountain to their own personal limits.
If you can do it as an amateur in an hour, then you're considered to be, you've had a good crack at it. I'm going to go for the hour. I'm going for a boom or bust.
The riders have already climbed 8 major alpine cols in 3 days. And with gradients of 8% to 14%, the key is pace over this entire climb. Too fast too soon, and it's all over.
Take the first 3 climbs easy, because they're the hardest, and that makes it easier for when you climb the rest of them.
For the time trial, the rider is alone on the road, the rider is alone with his mind, with his body, and the excitement and the possibility to share the emotions will be on the finish line with the team.
As the early starters arrived at the finish line, their relief was easy to see, their anguish hard to ignore. At the bottom of the mountain, it was the turn of the race leaders to start their attack on this infamous col. Pooley immediately on the attack. With 1,100 vertical meters of ascent, there's almost no rest for the riders. Just momentary flat spots in the apex of the 21 hairpins on the climb. For some, the intensity just too much.
His legs are a bit stiff and desperate need for a massage I think tonight, but got to get up there first and try and get to the front of the queue I think.
It's really getting very challenging now. 3K to go. And just stick with the plan.
And the man whose plan was clearly going well was in a league of his own.
Come on, the end.
With the benchmark goal of finishing under an hour, many of the amateur riders dig deep to overcome the intense pain. Peter Osborne finishes. Did he meet his target?
I thought I was going to be close, and 59.39. I thought I'd go for it.
Amazing day, beautiful views, camaraderie from the people I suffered with yesterday. So it was a good ride today, solid, well planned, and still got room for tomorrow.
Heading towards the finish line, the pace amongst the top riders was staggering. But once again, there was only ever going to be one winner at this stage. In 1997, Tour de France winner Marco Pantani finished this exact climb in 37 minutes and 35 seconds, a record that still stands today. Peter Pooley has managed a time of 42 minutes and 20 seconds, a new world record for amateurs.
It's so hard, so tough. The last 5 kilo I give 100%, 200%. I saw the time is good and I push.
By 1 p.m, the day is over for all of the riders. A welcome afternoon to restore weary bodies. But this is just the halfway mark, and the next 3 days would prove to stretch the sternest resolve. After a relatively easy day in the saddle on stage 4, today the riders take to the road from Alpe d'Huez and head to the mountain resort of Risoul, 136 kilometers away. On the start line, there's a real air of camaraderie. Riders from all corners of the globe. All have a common goal and a sense of belonging.
This race really makes you feel like you're alive. You know, when you think you've gone as hard as you can still go a little harder.
As the competitors leave Alpe d'Huez, they follow an official car in a first climb and descent neutralized for safety. They're immediately engulfed in stunning scenery on their way to the first of 4 climbs, Col de Sarenne. The pace is strong amongst the whole pack, but then there's a breakaway in the first 20 kilometers, the Kenyan riders amongst them. The scenery stunning, the speed increasing as the competitors attack the second climb of Col de l'Autorey at an altitude of 2,058 meters. But this won't be the hardest challenge of the day. Today, the competitors will climb to the highest point on the Haute Route so far. The classic and legendary col, Izoard, at 2,360 meters. This lunar landscape, an eerie backdrop for the food stop to a truly cosmopolitan peloton.
It is a big mix, it is a big melting pot between different cultures, different languages, different countries, France, the UK, Switzerland, Italy, Germany. But we have also some people coming from Canada, the US, Brazil, Mexico, Singapore, Australia. So it's a very big mix of different people.
Benissimo, veramente bello, stupendo. Ciao a tutti.
After 5 days, it's tougher than usual, but so beautiful. Perfect day. Can't ask for more. But I gotta go.
Beautiful, really beautiful. Tough but beautiful. Look at the scenery. What do you want more?
The climb's intensity written all over the riders' faces. But they did have a reward for their efforts. The descent down the north face of the mountain. From the summit, down through the Casse Déserte, the mountain is immortalized by 2 legends of the cycling world, Fausto Coppi and Louis Zambobé. A reminder that the Alps are entwined with this sport. A sport that brings people together.
People have just come from all over the world to this event, and we're all here for the same reason, is to get through this Haute Route together. And it's so painful and it's so challenging. It just pulls you together and people help each other out, share their experiences. I've just had so many amazing connections with people.
We normally get each other up the climb one way or another. These 2 managed to get me up, so that's camaraderie, for sure.
On the final climb, it's very close between the leading bunch. It seems that there is an equilibrium in the pace now. But coming into Risoul is the yellow jersey of Peter Pooley that greets the spectators on the finish line. The Kenyans win the team ranking for the first time in this event. But the struggle to complete this stage will come for the riders way behind. Every rider must complete all the stages within specified times. Finish outside the time, and you don't qualify as an official finisher in Nice. A tough prospect after 7 days of riding.
One K to go. Yeah.
as of the third day, the nature of this event kind of changed. The first 2 days, people were actually racing against each other. And as of the third day, it became so tough that people were racing with each other and supporting each other. And it was kind of like, let's stick together and survive this thing.
Almost all of the riders have finished, but there are still a handful out on the course with time running out.
So we have 6 riders less than a kilometer away. It is 4:25. The official cutoff time is at 4:35. Hopefully everybody today will make the official cutoff time at
Et si le décompte est bon là pour moi, il reste maintenant moins de 10 compétiteurs en course.
You did so good. I'm so proud of you. Huh? You okay? Oh, it's so hard.
And we have 8 riders still out on the road, almost home, almost back up into Missoula.
We did it.
Time.
Et c'est Laura qui aborde sur 8 compétiteurs en course.
I hate it, but I love
Tout le monde va rentrer une nouvelle fois dans les temps normalement. Et ça, c'est une très bonne nouvelle qui nous fait plaisir. Ça veut dire que nous sommes en train de donner le maximum de avec nous vers Nice.
This stage had all but finished some of the riders. But there was more than 300 kilometers to go, with nearly 7,000 meters of ascent over the next 2 days.
Good finish.
This race was far from over. Stage 6 and the penultimate day of the Haute Route cycle sportif from Geneva to Nice. Just 2 more days in the saddle, but with nearly 7,000 meters of climbing over 300 kilometers, there is still so much to do. Today, riders will leave Risoul and finish in the resort of Oran. En route, they will climb to the roof of Europe.
2 main difficulties today, the Col de Vars, but more importantly, the Cime de la Bonnette, 2,802 meters of altitude at the highest point, and Cime de la Bonnette will be the highest point of the whole week.
Even the hardened mountaineer is struggling.
Day 6 now, there is no mindset anymore. I can't believe how hard this has been. Just broken today, absolutely broken, mentally, physically. I'm not even thinking about tomorrow. I'm just thinking about getting around today.
Most riders are now really feeling the hundreds of brutal kilometers in their legs, but some seem to be reveling in the relentless climbing.
Yeah, the Kenyan riders were pretty happy yesterday. We got all of our guys in the top 20 and surprised ourselves by knocking off No Limit for the first time.
To beat Peter Pooley's No Limit team was a remarkable result for the Kenyans. And as the peloton left Risoul, there was a sense of competition amongst the riders that was as fierce as day 1 back in Geneva, with added respect. The first climb up to Col de Vars at 2,109 meters was just the hors d'oeuvre, before the plat du jour. As the air thinned on the ascent to the Cime de la Bonnette, so did the landscape, the lush pastures and tree lines replaced by an arid and dusty expanse. All the cols the riders have climbed so far have been stunning, but the Bonnette is in a class of its own. The highest paved through road on this continent is the roof of Europe. At 2,892 meters above sea level, this is a truly awe-inspiring place. This stage has a total of 3,700 meters of ascent, but the Haute Route isn't just about the climbing. Today also sees the same amount of descending. And going down is a whole new world.
But you're descending on tyres that are 23 millimetres wide, 2.3 centimetres.
When you're going down that hill, it's just you and 2 wheels and a bit of frame.
2.3 centimetres of rubber between you and the road. You're trying to lean as much as you can to flatten the tyre onto the road to get as much traction as possible. You go wide at the start of the bend. You come into the apex of the bend as tight as you can, leaning into the bend. Your inside knee has to be facing inwards towards the bend. Your outside leg is as straight as you can make it, and you've got to be pushing as hard as you can down and through the pedal. It's a combination of fear and exhilaration. It's an extraordinary feeling. It's like nothing else.
The descents are a careful balance between speed, safety, and respecting the rules of the road.
It's that whole feeling of nailing the corner and just feeling the forces, just can't describe it. It's exhilarating for sure.
In contrast to one of the longest descents was one of the shortest climbs. Just a relatively small 450-metre climb up to Oran to finish this stunning stage.
It was beautiful, and then the descent was amazing. I don't think I've had so much fun on a descent for ages. It was fantastic. I really enjoyed this week. I'm really sad it's going to be over.
One day now remained on the Haute Route. The riders could almost smell the salt air of the Mediterranean. Nice was calling. Pre-dawn. Today will be like no other day in the Haute Route. A day of anticipation, a day of excitement, and the final chapter in an extraordinary story. It'll be the final push to Nice.
6:25 in the morning, off in 20 minutes. It feels like the last day in prison, you know, that in 5 hours' time we're going to be finally free.
At the pre-dawn start line, the atmosphere amongst the riders has a renewed energy.
We're really excited to be going to Nice today, and it's been a great week. Really nice spirit amongst everybody.
I left all the emotion on the road. I left all the pain. I left all the joy, all the agony. Right now I'm just looking forward to riding, but I'm sure going into Nice is going to be absolutely fantastic.
I still got a few little butterflies, still got to get over this last col, but we're looking forward to all riding into Nice as a team.
But today's stage is by no means an easy end to a grueling week. At 175 kilometres, it's the furthest the riders will cycle in a single day. The mindset amongst the competitors seems still to be on pushing hard as opposed to cruising to the finish line. The pace is strong. Regardless of the individual rider's overall position in this race, just to have got this far is an incredible feat. There are some semi-pro and professional riders here, but most are just ordinary people with a passion and a drive for cycling that can only be described as exceptional.
People rode really hard, and I can't remember a single instance on the road when anyone would have said, hey, you know, it's like you're not pulling your weight. People would get up front and they work for everyone else, and they did what they could. It's just been really good.
Everyone was continuing to drain already depleted reserves.
All the riders of the Haute Route share the same objectives. It is to finish, to be present on the Promenade des Anglais, to be present in Nice, and to enjoy as much as they can these 7 stages.
Good race! Last day! I'm fresh in this! Fresh! Oh, swimming in this! Swimming! Go!
Crossed the line first. The 2 yellow jersey winners united, but exhausted.
It's been a lovely experience. I'm a bit sad it's over, but yeah, I'm happy now that I don't have to race anymore today.
She's amazing. She push all the time. We have the yellow jersey, and today we win together. It's fun.
And gradually, the the masses arrive.
Everyone have the different story about this race, and they challenge himself for different reasons, and everyone very happy, and it's like a big family, and everyone enjoy this nice time.
One of the best experiences of my life. It's an honor to ride with all of these guys. You know, we don't know each other, we're from different countries, we all pull together, and it just makes it really special. I'm really, really fortunate to be here.
You can't even imagine. It has been fantastic for us. It has been something that we never dreamed of. It was wonderful, wonderful. It was a wonderful experiment. Starting with more than 600 people, it was a wonderful experience.
It's unbelievable. Ever since I crashed the first, basically next 5 days, I was just hanging on. Today, I felt like I was riding my bike again. Someone much smarter than I figured out we climbed 2.5 times the size of Mount Everest. So and it feels like we did 10 times as much.
It's been brilliant. It's been really good, and I think I appreciate what an achievement it is now. And now I'm here at the end.
I've learned a little bit about humility, and I've ridden some of the best riding in the world. You know, with some strong men and women. Holy smoke, new respect, I tell you. Phenomenal, absolutely amazing.
Hakuna Matata! Es ist super sale! Wir sind froh, dass wir machen!
I think I did a little bit of cycling this week.
From the elation at the finish line, it was all downhill into Nice, en masse, in a secured convoy.
It was an amazing experience to ride with so many good riders, close road police around you. I felt like professional.
Everybody was just loving the fact that we could see the sea. When you turn in Canyon-sur-Mer and you take a left there, and you can see all the people sunbathing on the beach. It's just first thing you want to do is jump in the water.
We got our whole team into a line, riding together, everyone celebrating. It's just an amazing vibe to be a part of.
Over the past week, 95 teams from across the globe had pedalled 780 kilometers, conquered 19 cols, and climbed more than 21,000 meters. Of the 600 riders that started in Geneva, 474 received the finisher status in Nice. Just over a fifth had missed the cut-off points for some of the time limits on stages. Over the 7 days, the fastest rider, Peter Pouilly, had spent a total of 22 hours and 34 minutes in the saddle. By contrast, the slowest official finisher, nearly double that. Competitors have cycled through some of the most beautiful scenery in the world, mythical cols, alpine valleys, and lunar landscapes. They've pushed their bodies both physically and mentally to the limit, often overcoming the desire to give up when every fibre in their body was telling them to do so.
All the pain and the struggles that we've all been through this week is just amazing. So to be with everyone at the end and to know the depth that they've had to go to in themselves, wow, different person at the end than the beginning, that's for sure.
What were we thinking of this? They have found camaraderie from people from every corner of the globe and shared the pain and the glory in conquering the highest and toughest cycle sportif in the world, the Haute Route. Just 1 week after next year's edition, the organisers are launching Haute Route Pyrenees, a race between the Mediterranean and Atlantic coasts. The same format, a new playground.